part of this discussion about really anything you want to cover, whether it's citywide. We're doing these in every ward. So we had one earlier this week in the Heights. We have two more, one in Ward C and Ward F over the next couple of weeks, and the other wards we've done also in the last 2 weeks as well. We generally have the same format, and before I introduce some of the people who are here, some of the council members, the elected officials, the city directors who can help answer questions, what we tried to do is start off kind of with a little bit of a handout here to provide kind of a baseline of information for everybody's here, so it's a starting point that everybody's on the same page, essentially. And what you'll see here is essentially a breakdown of a couple things that I kind of assume that people would want to know about. It specifically talks about crime trends in the entire city, so first from a policing standpoint. It talks about specifically crime trends in the South District. It'll give you a picture of where and how some of the shooting issues have happened specifically, so you'll have an idea of what that looked like all of last year. Then some information about investment and parks, as well as some redevelopment plans specifically for the south side of Jersey City. So I'm going to hand those out, and then if you can take a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, you get a chance to look through it, and then we'll take the conversation in pretty much any direction that you want to go. I assume some of these things are going to be points of discussion, so I'll hand these out to start, and we'll take it from there in about 5 minutes or so. Okay? Thank you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm at Councilman LaVar.
Why? You're not touching me. What is going on here? Unbelievable! Is this the right of free speech? Is this the free speech of here in this country? You cannot leave me. This man no wants to answer no question. You say this is the same format? Last time you have 25 police officers in the room. And today, look at this. That is the free state of the United States of America? A shame! Be shame on you!
Are those police officers? Are those police officers?
Yes, Dan, those are police officers, and so people understand. I'll give a little bit of perspective here.
Okay, just one question before you begin. It's my understanding that this is an open format where the individuals that are attending will be allowed to ask questions.
100%, Dan.
Thank you.
So why are they stirring up?
Yes, I will explain to you exactly. That individual has come to every single one of these meetings and made a disruption for 20 to 30 minutes. Well, maybe not 20 or 30 minutes, but probably 5 to 10 minutes. Yelling from the backside and with no agenda other than a specific building that the city cited for violations in his neighborhood over here, proper violations. And it's tremendously disruptive, and it comes with the intent of it every single time. So the police department, recognizing the fact that he has been yelling and disruptive, no intent to be part of a community meeting, they ask him to leave. And I think absolutely that's the right thing to do. There's been every single meeting, consistently he's been there. You've come to some of the other ward meetings, you've witnessed it yourself, actually. So we're going to have an open forum. Man, we're going to have an open forum. Man, we're going to have an open forum. You want to have an open forum, it's productive, and if you want to yell and scream and be disruptive for your own personal agenda, we're going to ask you to leave because it's not productive for the rest of the group, and I think that's reasonable. Every single one of the meetings prior to this, he has come, obviously, and he has done the same exact thing. And we thought it was in the best interest of the people here that we have a productive conversation. That's fair, I think.
But he didn't say anything.
No, let me start by saying thank you for coming out today, and thank you for showing interest in the city. Let me introduce a couple of the people who are here tonight, because I think if I can't answer the question, then you certainly have individuals here who can handle that. And I will first say that there's nothing that's off limits. Every one of these have had a different format, generally driven by some of the organizers. We've been partnered with different neighborhood groups throughout this process, and I've been subject to however the neighborhood group wanted to drive the conversation. Some of them had people write in questions beforehand, fine. Some of them had questions that were people raising their hand, that's equally as fine. I think in this forum, since I'm the moderator, we'll just go one by one through the questions for the next hour till approximately 8:30, 8:45. At 8:30, 8:45, we will adjourn from the formal setting. I'm not going anywhere. If there's something you want to address that you didn't feel comfortable in the public meeting saying, you could grab any one of us. We will be here till those are addressed as well. Okay? So let me start by introducing some of the elected officials. Let me start with the Ward A councilman representing this specific area here, Frank Kajewski. We have a city council president who is also a resident of Ward A, Rolando Lavarro. We have a councilman at large, resident of downtown, lifelong resident here, Daniel Rivera. We have our councilman from Ward B, the one and only Chico Ramchal. We have two of our state assembly elected officials here. We have Assemblywoman Angela McKnight. To the left is Assemblyman Nicholas Chevrolet. We have our Director of Public Safety, responsible for the police department, Jim Shea. To his right, we have the Director of Recreation, Kevin Williamson. To his right, many of you know, been involved helping on the Public Works incinerator front, former freeholder Jeff Dublin. Our director for this area, Mark Redfield. His right, the captain responsible for this area here, Captain Lockwood. And then to his, who we have missing here. And I think that really starts kind of the baseline of where we are. So. Let me talk a little bit about why I think these sort of meetings are important and kind of where I think we are and ultimately where I'm going. We started this 2 years ago, and we set out a goal that we are going to have Jersey City enter the conversation as one of the best mid-sized cities in the country. And we really talk about that every day then, and we still talk about that. And I think we've made tremendous strides in the right direction. It's far from perfect, I'll be the first to say, but I think that everybody would acknowledge that you're not going to correct decades of disconnect in certain regards in 1 year or 2 years, and some of them will take even much longer. That said, if you look at many economic metrics and progressive metrics, some of kind of the social programs, it is hard to argue that Jersey City is not leading the state of New Jersey on those fronts. Whether it's a drop in unemployment, whether it's construction starts, whether it's credit rating upgrades, whether it's flat taxes the last 2 years. We're about to introduce our budget for next year, flat as well, I believe, although we're not 100% there yet. But generally speaking, on the economic fronts, I think we're moving in the right direction. At the same time, although things aren't perfect and we still can do more always, we are building more affordable housing than anywhere in the state of New Jersey. That takes time, but they are under construction, touching every single corner of the city. We are building veteran housing. We're the first for paid sick leave. When I think about some of the things that we are doing here, we are really at the forefront of the conversation in the entire state of New Jersey. And those are things that I think I am proud of, and I think collectively as a city that you should also hopefully be proud of as well. That said, the conversation here is really about what we can be doing better. Where do you think that we're missing? Where would you like to see more resources? And we will answer any question that you may have, and we're happy for an open dialogue on that. So rather than any of us I'm going to stand up here and kind of take the conversation where we want it to go. I'll open it up to you guys right out of the gate, and we'll go one by one, and if I can't answer it, I'm sure somebody behind me certainly can. So, yeah, sure.
There's a perception